Hello, and welcome to another Rouge unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the Charioteer. So, during the early 50s, Britain was having a bit of an issue in regards to tank production. You see, they had this really awesome tank, the Centurion, but they weren't able to build enough of them to meet the needs of the military. Instead, they were still using a lot of Cromwell and Comet tanks, which were designed in World War II. And in a modern battlefield, especially against the more heavily armoured Soviet tanks of the 50s, they needed something of a bit of extra punch, and so they did what really any nation does in this case. Cut off the turret of their older tank designs and try to cram the biggest gun possible onto it. As you may imagine, this wasn't exactly the most high-tech of armoured vehicles. It was really just intended as a stopgap measure until they could produce more Centurion Mark III tanks. It'd make just over 400 of these tanks, and really starting in the late 50s they would start selling them off to other countries, one of them being Finland, who ended up acquiring 38 of these Charioteer tanks. In game, the Charioteer is a 15-point tank available to Finland. It is a single weapon. That weapon being the 20-pounder 84mm gun with 35 rounds of ammunition, 1.9 km range, 40% accuracy, 8 AP, 3 HE, and 8 rounds a minute fire rate. A pretty average gun for a tank of this price range. It's okay enough at dealing with other light armoured vehicles. The main advantage this gun has is having 8 rounds a minute, which is a bit faster compared to some other early Cold War tanks. Pop down to miscellaneous stats, has 5 frontal armour, turret side, 1 at back, and 1 at top. 10 HP, medium size, bad optics, a speed of 55 km off-road, 110 on the road. Poor stealth, an autonomy of 640 km, and it really has no type restrictions. So in battle, the Charioteer is a rather odd looking vehicle. It seems more home in Steel Division 2 than it does in Wargame Red Dragon. But when would you ever get this unit? Cheap tanks aren't exactly that great in Wargame Red Dragon. This is an airland battle. You want to be spamming starships and Centurions all the time. They've been nerfed quite a bit. Well, there is one pretty damn good use case for the Charioteer, and that is for fin pole motorized decks. As you might imagine, in a motorized deck, your tank choices are quite limited, and the Charioteer does have the added bonus of being very cheap fire support. You can also get the Finnish T55, which is also another good tank to have in fin pole motorized, but I notice quite a few people just tend to not even bother getting that because they just want the bare basic cheapest armoured fire support, and the Charioteer has pretty much the minimum amount of armour required for some sort of tank, and it also has a gun. Its main problem is that it doesn't have a machine gun, so it's a little bit more limited in the infantry fire support role. You may be asking, why the hell just not get a T-34-85? I mean, it has a better gun with 10 AP, and it also has a machine gun. Well, there's a few downsides. It doesn't have the same range on the gun. The gun is also heat ammunition, meaning it only ever does 10 HP. It also means it always does at least 1 point of damage, even if it can't penetrate the tank. While with the kinetic energy gun of the Charioteer, at point blank range, you can surprisingly do some damage against some more upper medium armoured tanks, such as M1 Abrams. You also have a little bit of extra armor, which may not seem like a whole lot, but against some more of the lower end Cold War tanks like enemy 105s, it does mean you have a bit of a better chance of taking maybe 2, sometimes 3 shots before you get completely blown up. And I also think just the bit of extra autonomy helps quite a lot, because in a motorized deck, well, speed is violence, and you're going to need something which can maneuver across the map and keep up with all your APCs. Overall, the Charioteer is quite fitting for its name with the deck you want to be bringing it. It may not be, well, modern of a tank, and it will get outclassed by pretty much anything, but if you maneuver it with your APCs to act as cheap, more effective anti-tank fire supporter, well, not really anti-tank, it's more anti-APC fire support, you can get some surprisingly good value out of the Charioteer. Remember, it's 15 points. You blow up pretty much one motorized autocannon transport, you paid yourself off. Bonus points if you can blow up a cheap tank as well. It's pretty decent for, well, you know, cheap ground fire support for your motorized Russes across high rate of Seoul. And well, I'm gonna leave it off that. This has been another Angry Unit of the Week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as usual, please just take it easy.